my country.
Distinguish between drive and travel. You are free to travel, but you shouldn't be free to drive, because that means you're going to use public resources to earn a living and to generate a profit. So if you distinguish between drive and travel, if you're just saying, I want to go from point A to point B and I'm not earning any money by carrying a passenger, I'm not carrying any cargo for someone else, you're traveling, and you do have every right in the world to do that, and it's made available to you if you claim, if you serve a notice of understanding and intent and claim your right to do it.
Because it strikes me that all the laws, etc.
Statutes, you mean?
I don't know. All the things that are there that we think are laws, etc. I came to the conclusion that in fact it was the reverse. It was there to protect my right to live a full life, a free life.
These are the rules of government agents. These are the rules that exist so that we can have a measure of control over the government. They've hooped us into getting a social insurance number, so now we're all part of the government. We're all bound by these rules, but we can step away at any time. And when we do, we're free of these rules. They're still bound by them.
Because I want to buy houses and invest in real estate, etc. And I came to appreciate that in fact wasn't that system there to enable me to do that in a simple, easy, secure way, if you will. So then when I go to buy a property, they say, what's your social insurance number, and on and on and on and on.
You tell them you don't have one. And if you sense that, oh, they're going to want this, they're going to want that, all you have to do is see that this is a potential for conflict, and you take care of that by creating and signing a notice of understanding and intent. Put them on notice. Claim your right. Watch what happens.
Because the lenders, of course, never have to enter into they don't have to lend me money if I don't satisfy it.
That's a whole different story. You've got, my friend, there's a whole lot you should learn before you go buying property like that, because chances are you can just discharge it anyways.
I have a birth certificate that's done properly. Rural, grant with the capital letters and the So I knew that if I sent it to the government to get another one, a renewal, I said I wanted a renewal one, that they would send me this other one. So I said to them, I was born in Medicine Hat, my mom and dad named me Merle Grant Schnee, and I want a replacement birth certificate, but just so that you know that I'm not the one that I'm looking for, I'm sending you one, a copy in this Exhibit 1. And I paid for it and everything else, so please send me the exact copy. Well, now, when I got it, of course, I didn't have the exact copy. It had my last name first.
Yeah, yeah.
They used to give capital letters in Alberta, but there's so many people here, like Gordon and Vern and raised hell, that they changed that. Instead of capitals now, they just use our last name first, certainly.
Right.
So I'm going to court in Leduc, and I've got my birth certificate the way it should be, the other birth certificate the way the government gave it to me, and I got the ticket that's all capitals. So I said to the judge, which one do you want? Now, she wasn't happy with me. She said, unless you tell me that you're here, or something, I'm going to find you absent or guilty in absence or whatever. Yeah. So I'm standing there looking at her, and she pronounced me guilty and then told me to get the hell out.
Fine, I'm guilty. Bye. Or you just, again, 3 days. This is a transaction of a security interest. And someone asked a question about the social insurance number. If you abandon it, what about retirees? Can you still get your pension payment? Because apparently what the government does is they insist that you use the social insurance number. If you have, again, it would require a notice of understanding and intent. And the way I look at it, my dad worked for Chrysler for 30 years. Well, he worked for Chrysler for 30 years. He had a Chrysler employee identification number. When he retired, he gave up his number. He started collecting his pension. You should be able, if you're retired and you're collecting a pension, you should be able to give them back that social insurance number and still claim the right to collect your pension. You shouldn't have to be a government employee from the day you're born to the day you die. You can say, I'm no longer a government employee, but that's my pension and you're going to give it to me. And what if you could ask for it all at once? I want my whole pension.
Without SIN or a birth certificate, how do you get a passport? And of course, without passport, how do you travel internationally?
Again, I thought we covered that already. I don't know that you'd need a passport. Again, a notice of understanding and intent, you write to the... What the government is doing is providing you with a service and saving you the trouble of having to do it all yourself. Do what the government would do with that passport, but do it yourself. And essentially all you're doing is you could engage in an agreement with the host country. You tell them, listen, I want to come and visit this country, and I'm a free man on the land, and because of that, I don't have a passport. Or you could demand that the passport office provide you with a passport even as a free man on the land. They might say, oh, you need this, we're required to see this. I hate it when, well, I don't hate it, but I notice a lot of times they will say ICBC is required to see this application. I require a tuna sandwich. Does that create an obligation on any of you to give me one? No. Just because they define it as their requirement doesn't mean it's an obligation for you. The law is all about remedy. There is always remedy. If you can't find the remedy, you're not thinking about law, you're not looking at it properly, it's always there. There are people who travel, they cross the, especially coming into our border. You can come into our border, say, I'm a free man on the land, you're a government agent, get the hell out of my way. Just move. If you're going into other countries, you're going to have to operate on an agreement of good behavior, essentially is what that passport is for. Maybe post a bond, say, oh, I'm posting a $10,000 bond in order to travel, and explain this to them. And although you won't be able to serve a notice of understanding and intent and a claim of right upon a foreign company or a foreign jurisdiction, you can certainly do it to the customs people here. And they know that they have no right to deny you access. And I've heard of people using a family Bible, and they claim that that's their ID, that's their passport, and it's accepted. And that's what they used to use before passports.
I know someone's coming.
Things go, we don't admit it. In fear of putting it to stone. No stepfather left you alone again. It's like a bus ride. It's like a hitchhike. It's like a cheap motel. Out in the middle of the night. Things go, a story's been told. You have a broken man with a bottle for soul. You see, beyond foot.